sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
All right, so you wanted to take a deep dive into the Eagles' Super Bowl LIX victory. Well, get ready, because we're going to go way beyond just the headlines and really break down some of the most fascinating details from their amazing season. We've got a ton of highlight clips and game summaries pulled straight from the Philadelphia Eagles official website, so
yeah,
buckle up.
You know what's so cool about these sources is that they don't just tell us, like, what happened. They kind of give us a look into how the Eagles were so strategic, and how that led them to actually win.
Okay, so let's get into it. First up, Cooper DeJean's interception of Mahomes in the Super Bowl. A pick six on his birthday. That's got to be like one for the record books.
Right? Oh, it definitely is. It's super rare to see a pick six in any game, let alone in the Super Bowl against a quarterback like Mahomes, who's known for being so careful with the ball. Some people even think that Mahomes might have been trying to force that throw because they were already losing. So DeJean was just in the right place at the right time. A good dose of awareness.
So maybe a little bit of luck, a little bit of skill. Either way, what an impact. And speaking of impact, the Eagles' offense was unstoppable. That NFC Championship game, 55 points, like an NFC Championship record. Jalen Hurts was just incredible, passing, running for touchdowns.
Hurts is such a game changer, the defense never knows if he's going to run or pass.
Right. I remember that brotherly shove play where the whole offensive line basically pushed him into the end zone. I feel like that's become their signature play now.
Yeah, and that play is a great example of how creative the Eagles are. It's not just about being strong, it's about outsmarting the other team, especially when they need just a few yards.
Yeah.
They've used it so well that other teams are like scrambling to figure out how to stop it.
Yeah, this team is so much fun to watch. And it's not just one player, it's the whole offense. Devonta Smith,
Right.
A.J. Brown, they were both getting so many touchdowns.
Oh, yeah. Smith is so good at getting open. He's like a ghost slipping past defenders. And Brown. He's just a powerhouse. He's always fighting for the ball and winning. He's such a reliable target for Hurts, especially when things get tense.
Yeah, he's a highlight reel for sure. And then there's Saquon Barkley, 205 rushing yards against the Rams. That's not just a good game that's breaking the Eagles' playoff single-game record.
For a while, people were saying that running backs weren't that important anymore, but Pren Barkley really proved them wrong. He showed that a talented running back can still be a huge part of a championship team.
I remember watching that 78-yard touchdown run. He was untouchable.
It was like watching poetry in motion. That run showed just how strong Pren Barkley is, how well he sees the field, and how quickly he can move. With the Eagles' offense, he's got so many opportunities to really shine.
It's almost like the Eagles have changed the way people think about running backs in the NFL, but it wasn't all about the offense, was it? Their defense was just as impressive.
Oh, absolutely. The Eagles' defense was a nightmare for any quarterback they played against. They were relentless, always going after the ball, and they forced so many turnovers at just the right times.
Yeah, those big defensive plays really changed the course of some of those games. Jordan Davis chasing down Jaden Daniels for a sack in the NFC Championship. Jalen Carter's huge sack on Matthew Stafford in the Rams game. They were making life really tough for those quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah. Davis is a force of nature. He's so big and so fast that it's practically impossible to block him. And Carter is amazing at getting through the offensive line and just disrupting everything. He's becoming one of the most feared defensive players in the league.
Yeah. And then there were the interceptions. Zach Bound picking off Mahomes in the Super Bowl was huge. It felt like every time the other team started to get some momentum, the Eagles' defense would just shut them down.
Oh, that Bound interception was a turning point in the Super Bowl. It showed how well he understands the game and how he can read Mahomes' mind. Very few players can do that.
Right. It's like they knew what the other team was going to do before they even did it. And we can't forget about Cooper DeJean's pick six on his birthday in the Super Bowl. Talk about a birthday present.
That play is a perfect example of how well the Eagles' defense is set up to create turnovers. They put their players in the best possible positions to make those game-changing plays.
So we've got an amazing offense, a dynamic quarterback, a running back who's exceeding all expectations, and a defense that was shutting down some of the best offenses in the league. Is there anything this team can't do?
What's really impressive about this Eagles team is their depth. It's not just about the superstars. It's about everyone on the roster contributing. Even their special teams unit had some big moments.
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot about Will Shipley forcing that fumble on the kickoff against the Commanders. That gave the Eagles such great field position. It really set the tone for the whole game.
For sure. That play shows how important special teams are. It's a part of the game that people don't always pay attention to, but it can make all the difference. The Eagles were a complete team. They were firing on all cylinders.
So it's not just about individual talent. It's about the teamwork, the coaching, the strategy, and how well they execute everything. That's what makes this Eagles team so special.
And that's what makes them so dangerous. They have the talent, the strategy, and they work so well together. They could be a dominant force in the NFL for years to come.
That's a scary thought for the rest of the league. But for Eagles fans, this has got to be a dream come true.
You know, it's a pretty amazing story of teamwork and them all coming together. But let's shift gears a little bit and zoom in on some of these players who really stood out this season.
Yes, because behind this incredible team are some insanely talented players. And I think we have to start with the man leading the charge, Jalen Hurts.
He's become the definition of what a modern quarterback is. Not just throwing the ball, but a real threat with his legs, too. Keeps defenses guessing.
You know, when we were talking about that brotherly shove play earlier, I was thinking about how it shows his leadership and how unified this team is. It wasn't just about him scoring. It was about the whole line coming together to get him into the end zone.
It's such a good example of how the Eagles use their player strengths. They know what Hurts is good at, and they create plays that use both his arm and his legs. It's got to be a nightmare for the other teams to figure out.
Yeah. And then you've got his receivers making these unbelievable catches all season. Devontae Smith with that 46-yard touchdown in the Super Bowl. I mean, it was beautiful.
Smith's route running is something else. He's so good at getting away from defenders. It's like he's a quarterback's dream. He might not be the biggest guy out there, but he's so quick and agile that he's always finding a way to get open.
And then you've got A.J. Brown, a completely different kind of receiver, but just as good. He's such a physical presence, just getting touchdown after touchdown.
Brown is the kind of guy who loves those tough catches where he has to fight for the ball. He's not afraid to go up and grab it, and he's strong enough to win those battles. He adds another layer to the Eagles' passing game, makes them even more dangerous.
Yeah, they have the perfect mix of receivers, makes their passing attack so balanced and unpredictable. But we can't forget about Saquon Barkley. 205 rushing yards against the Rams in the divisional round, a new Eagles playoff record. It's hard to put into words how dominant he was.
He's changing the way people think about running backs. He's got the speed to take it all the way, the vision to find the gaps, and the power to run through tackles.
I keep replaying that 78-yard touchdown run against the Rams in my head. It was like he was just gliding through the defense, couldn't be stopped.
That run was a clinic in how to be a running back. It showed how well he reads his blocks, how he anticipates those openings, and then just explodes through them with incredible speed. No wonder he was breaking records.
It feels like he's single-handedly bringing back the importance of running backs. But as much as we could talk about the Eagles' offense all day, we got to give some love to the guys on the other side of the ball. The defense was a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely. The Eagles' defense was a nightmare for anyone they played. They had so many playmakers who could disrupt things, and they made big plays when it mattered most.
Yeah, those defensive linemen were incredible. Jordan Davis was like a one-man wrecking crew, and Jalen Carter was always messing things up in the backfield.
Davis is such a rare talent. So big, so fast, so athletic. You can't block him one-on-one. And when you double team him, it opens things up for other players. And Carter just has a nose for the ball. He's always around it, making tackles or forcing fumbles.
And having them on the defensive line really set the tone for the whole defense. And they weren't just big guys taking up space. They were smart players who understood the game.
That's so important. The Eagles coaches deserve a lot of credit for putting these guys in a position to succeed. They saw what each player was good at and designed plays to take advantage of that.
And you can't forget about those interceptions. Zach Bound picking off Mahomes in the Super Bowl was huge. And Cooper DeJean's pick 6 on his birthday, I mean, that's the kind of stuff you tell your grandkids about.
Yeah, those weren't just lucky plays. They were playing great coverage, being disciplined, and reading the quarterback's mind. The Eagles' defensive backs were always in the right spot to make a play.
I'm starting to see a pattern here. It's not just about having talented players. It's about putting the right guys in the right positions and having coaches who know how to use them.
Exactly. And that goes back to the culture of this team. From the front office to the coaches to the players, everyone is committed to being the best.
It's like a perfectly tuned machine.
And that's what makes this Eagles team so special. They're not just a bunch of good players. They're a real team.
I think what impresses me the most is that it wasn't just the stars who were making a difference. It was everyone on the roster, from the quarterback to the special team.
Oh, yeah. Remember Will Shipley forcing that fumble on the kickoff against the Commanders?
Yeah.
That play might not have been on all the highlight reels, but it was a huge moment that changed the game.
It's those kinds of plays, the ones that don't always get the
Yeah,
attention, that really show what a championship team is all about.
Yeah, and the Eagles had a lot of those moments this season.
So we've talked about the stars on offense and defense, the coaching, the strategy. Is there something else that's contributing to their success? Something you can't quite put your finger on?
I think a big part of it is their resilience. They faced a lot of challenges throughout the season, injuries, tough opponents, but they never lost their belief or their determination.
That's true. They never gave up even when things looked bad. They always found a way to win.
They played against some of the best teams in the league, dealt with injuries to important players, and they still came out on top. It shows how mentally tough they are and how much they believe in themselves and each other.
It's like they had this never say die attitude.
That attitude, combined with their talent and coaching, made them almost unstoppable.
And it all led to that amazing Super Bowl victory. It's like a fairy tale ending to an incredible season.
It really is. But the story isn't over. The Eagles have set a new standard in the NFL, and it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the league reacts.
That's a great point. This victory is going to change the NFL. It's going to force other teams to rethink their strategies, how they develop players, and how they build a championship team. It's incredible to think about how much this Eagles team has changed things, not just for their fans, but for the whole NFL.
Well, they've definitely shaken things up. Their Super Bowl win is like a textbook example of how to build a winning team in today's NFL.
Yeah, for a while it seemed like the league was all about passing and scoring a ton of points. But the Eagles showed everyone that you can still be dominant with a strong running game.
Yeah, Barkley's record-breaking season is the perfect example. He proved that a running back can still be the heart of a championship team.
And it wasn't just Barkley. You had Hurts running the ball, too. It's like they brought back that old-school power running game, but with a modern twist.
Exactly. They've got that classic smash-mouth style. But with a quarterback who can move and make plays outside the pocket, it's a tough combination to defend against. Gives the offense so many options.
It's like they took the best parts of old school football and mixed it with a new innovative style. And it's obviously working.
Yeah, other teams are definitely taking notice. You can bet that every team in the league is looking for their own dual threat quarterback and a powerful running back.
It makes you wonder if we're going to see more teams going back to a more balanced offense.
It's definitely possible. The Eagles have shown that you don't have to give up on running the ball to win in today's NFL.
But it wasn't all about offense, was it? Their defense was just as impressive.
Oh yeah, they were a force. Disruptive players everywhere, always making big plays.
Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter were just dominant on that defensive line. They were causing problems all season long.
Those guys are game changers. Disrupting plays, forcing turnovers, making life miserable for quarterbacks. And they're part of a trend we're seeing. Bigger, faster, more athletic defensive linemen.
Like the next generation of defensive players. And then you had those clutch interceptions, Zach Bound picking off Mahomes in the Super Bowl, Cooper DeJean's pick 6 on his birthday. It felt like they always came up with a big play on defense just when the other team was getting some momentum.
Those interceptions weren't just luck. Their whole defensive strategy was about creating turnovers, putting their players in position to make those game-changing plays.
So we've got a balanced offense that can run and pass, a dominant defense that creates chaos, and a coaching staff that always seems to be one step ahead. Is there anything else that makes this Eagles team so special?
I think it goes beyond just the plays and the strategy. There's something about their chemistry, the way they play together.
You're talking about that brotherly shove spirit, right? Like they're all in it together fighting for each other.
Exactly. They play with so much joy and passion. You can see it in how they celebrate, how they support each other. They're a true team.
It's something you can't really measure, but you can definitely feel it.
It's that something extra that separates the good teams from the great teams. And the Eagles have it.
Their Super Bowl victory shows just how talented they are, how hard they work, and how much they believe in each other.
And it's an inspiration to anyone who wants to achieve something great.
Yeah, it's a reminder that with the right mix of talent, dedication, and teamwork, anything is possible.
The Eagles have set a new standard for the entire NFL. It's going to be fascinating to see what happens next.
It's going to be fun to watch the next chapter unfold. Will the Eagles stay on top? Will other teams figure out how to copy their success? Only time will tell.
But one thing's for sure. The Eagles have made their mark on the NFL. And their Super Bowl win will be remembered for a long time.
Well, that's our deep dive into the Eagles' historic Super Bowl run. We hope you enjoyed taking this journey with us.
Don't forget, the conversation doesn't have to end here. Keep watching those highlights. And think about how the Eagles have changed the future of the NFL.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep that love for the game alive.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.